Hi, I'm Paul, and along with my partner Lee, we're late to the sail away. Today, we're heading to one of the world's most remote and breathtaking corners of the Great Barrier Reef. But this isn't just a reef trip, it's also a story of redemption. Our 2023 visit to the inner reef was a disaster. Rough seas, a king tide, and the unforgettable moment Lee projectile vomited watermelon out of her nose. This year, we're going all in. No shortcuts, no compromises, just a boat, a brother-in-law, and the Great Barrier Reef. We'll hop aboard the Quicksilver VIII, a sleek, high-speed catamaran for a 90-minute ride to Agincourt Reef, located right on the edge of Australia's continental shelf. It's the kind of place where the land ends and the adventure begins. Let's dive in. We've just wrapped up 2 unforgettable weeks in Port Douglas, a tropical gem tucked away in Far North Queensland. With its palm-lined streets, breezy cafes, and an unmistakable laid-back tropical atmosphere, Port Douglas feels like the kind of place where time slows down and the horizon stretches forever. It's not just a beach town, it's a launch pad to one of the world's 7 natural wonders. Toward the end of our stay, I joined my brother-in-law Errol, a newly minted Port Douglas local, for a day trip to the outer reef. We made our way to the Port Douglas Marina, where the Quicksilver VIII awaited. This wasn't just any boat, it was a 45-metre Australian-built aluminium wave-piercing catamaran, affectionately known as the Quickie VIII. With a cruising speed of 35 knots, roughly 65 kilometres or 40 miles an hour, 3 passenger decks, plush seating and a full-service bar, she was built for comfort, speed and style. Window seats on the 2 main decks filled up fast as our fellow passengers rushed to the prime spots, but I've always preferred the open air, so I made my way up 2 flights of stairs to the top deck, where the breeze carried the scent of the ocean waves and the view stretched endlessly across the coral sea. It wasn't long before the engines rumbled to life and we cast off, gliding through the channel and out into open water. Once we were clear of the port and the channel, the captain opened up the throttles and the Quickie VIII surged forward at breakneck speed. The wind whipped across the deck and the boat began to rock as she punched through the waves. We were on our way and watched on as the land slipped quietly into the distance, bathed in the late morning sunlight. We soon passed the inner reef Low Isles, the scene of our infamous 2023 reef trip with Calypso Reef Cruises. That day was just one disappointment after another, with terrible weather, rough seas, a king tide that left most of the reef exposed, and of course, Lee's nasal watermelon fiasco. I came away from that trip feeling disappointed and shortchanged. This time, I was determined to rewrite the story and have the experience that I was previously denied. With the Low Isles behind us, we powered past Snapper Island, known to locals as Croc Island. It's located just beyond the mouth of the Daintree River and is a popular destination for campers and kayakers. Mind you, the name does make you wonder if anything is lurking just under the surface. Altogether, the journey to the outer reef takes about 90 minutes, giving guests plenty of time to settle in. Some chatted with the crew, who were warm, knowledgeable and always ready with a story or some fun facts about the reef itself. Others grabbed a cold drink from the bar, snapped some photos, or attended the marine biology presentation and snorkeling demonstration shown on board. As we approached the reef, we passed some smaller coral formations and kept our eyes peeled for humpback whales. From July to September, these gentle giants migrate through the area, breaching and playing in the warm waters before heading back to Antarctica to feed. Whale sightings are common out here, but sadly, we came up short. Still, it gives me one more reason to return. As we neared Agincourt Reef, the wind picked up and the skies darkened as a squall rolled in. Rain lashed the deck and the intensity of the wind increased, so we headed below deck for shelter, unable to see out of the windows due to the heavy rain outside. But then, just as quickly as it arrived, the storm passed and the skies began to clear. We soon felt the engines spool down and our speed drop as through the misted glass I caught sight of the Agincourt Reef pontoon. We climbed back up to the top deck just as the clouds parted, allowing sunlight to spill across the water, revealing the stunning aqua blue hues of the reef. It was like stepping into another world, one painted in every shade of blue and green you can imagine. The pontoon itself was set across 2 levels with catamaran access on the upper deck and the lower deck housing the dive suit and equipment stores as well as changing facilities, the mess hall, buffet area and the small souvenir store. The reef stretched out in all directions, teeming with life and colour. We suited up in lycra stinger suits, essential protection during jellyfish season, which thankfully it wasn't, and headed to the snorkel platform to collect our gear, masks, snorkels and flippers. But before plunging into the water, we decided to fuel up. The buffet lunch was open, so we headed over to see what was on offer, and it was quite impressive, with a selection of fresh fruit, cold meats, crisp salads, juicy prawns, 2 hot dishes, rice and fresh warm bread rolls. It was a far cry from the sad fruit platter we'd endured on our previous reef trip. This was a feast fit for King Triton himself. With full bellies and a bit of digestion time, we descended into the underwater observatory. Down a flight of stairs, the thick tempered glass offered a window into the reef's hidden world. Butterfly fish, parrotfish, angelfish and countless others glided past in a hypnotic dance. It was quiet, surreal and strangely humbling. After a few minutes of gazing at the underwater world, it was time to get wet, so we headed back up to the snorkel platform, popped on our mask and flippers, did our final gear checks and gently eased into the turquoise waters. I hadn't snorkeled in a very long time, but it came back instantly, just like riding a bike. The only challenge was trying to master my underwater camera, which felt a bit like trying to film a documentary while holding a jalapeno on a stick. If you know, you know. I explored the shallow reef formations near the pontoon, hoping for a break in the clouds to see the colours come alive. And when the sun did break through, it was magical. The reef lit up in a kaleidoscope of colour. Vibrant corals, swaying anemones, giant clams, and schools of fish darting in every direction. It felt like I was swimming through a living painting. I even came across a turtle or 2. I could have spent the entire week just drifting among the coral, watching the marine life go about its day. Being underwater really is my happy place. It's where my mind unwinds and I feel complete relaxation just floating in what feels like zero gravity. I returned to the snorkel platform in time to witness the fish feeding, which was an amazing sight. The fish were enormous and very happy to swim with the humans, well, as long as the food was being dished out. I had one more adventure in mind, a scenic helicopter flight over the reef. 10-minute flights were available for an extra fee, offering a bird's eye view of the reef's splendour. So I dried off and made my way to the gift shop to inquire about the chopper tour. Unfortunately, I just missed the last flight, giving me yet another reason to come back next year. It was getting close to departure time, so I popped into a changing room, got out of that lycra suit and back into my clothes. Then I made my way back to the Quickie 8. Before we could leave, there was a head count to ensure that all passengers and crew were accounted for. This is to make sure that no one is accidentally left behind, which actually happened to an American couple back in 1998. That incident inspired the 2003 film Open Water. The head count took a fair amount of time, as the first 2 counts came up short. It was then 3rd time lucky. Everyone was on board and we could head back to Port Douglas. The heavens opened once again as light refreshments were served. We were offered cheese and crackers and a selection of hot and cold drinks while we cruised home. The return trip was uneventful, but the clouds cleared and the sun came out again, and we could see the Calypso catamaran also heading back to port. But the Quickie 8 was much faster and we left the Calypso for dust. Before long, we were gliding back through the channel at Port Douglas, docking once again at the sun-drenched Douglas Marina. As we disembarked, the crew lined the jetty in a guard of honour, applauding us on shore. It was a simple gesture, but one that made the day feel truly special. Overall, my return trip to the reef was everything I could have hoped for and more. So I can finally tick that off my bucket list. The boat handled the sea like a dream, cutting through the waves like a hot knife through butter. The crew were top-notch and the experience was unforgettable. Sure, I missed the helicopter ride and the weather played a few tricks on us, but as I mentioned before, that just gives me another reason to return again next year. Agincourt Reef delivered everything we hoped for and more, from high-speed catamaran thrills to turquoise waters and coral gardens straight out of Finding Nemo. This trip was the redemption I hoped it would be. A final tip if you're heading to Port Douglas in the Outer Reef: hold off on booking your reef trip in advance. Instead, Drop by the Quicksilver offices once you're in town and check the latest reef weather forecast. Their staff have access to highly accurate updates and can help you choose a day with ideal conditions, making your experience that much more spectacular. Alternatively, check out their website or call their office directly for up-to-date information. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment below, and let me know. Have you snorkeled the Great Barrier Reef, or is it still on your bucket list? Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next adventure. I've got more travel stories, several upcoming cruises, and maybe, just maybe, that scenic helicopter ride coming your way. Thanks for watching. This reef chapter might be closed, but the journey's just beginning. See you in the next video.